Hi, today is April 9th, 2025, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 547 for the year, and it's a song, and it's called The Corner. I don't know what's gonna happen if you try to cut that corner. Maybe it would be like a stitch in time if you try to cut that corner, or maybe you'll get hit by a semi if you try to cut the corner. I'm gonna play it safe, take the long way around. You could tell all my friends I'm a-coming soon. I'll be along in a while, just as soon as I get around the corner. Just as soon as I get around the corner. Poem number 548, The Side. The side, being one side, couldn't choose sides. It could only be the one-sided side that it was. You can say the side is stubborn, but I feel like the side can only be what it is. You can try to convince me that I'm wrong, and I might decide you're right, but that is my prerogative. Unlike the side, I'm not stuck being one-sided. I can switch sides whenever I feel like it. Is the side jealous of my freedom? I don't know. You'd have to ask the side. Poem number 549, The Edges. There are at least two poems called The Edge that I don't want to write. One is about the U2 guitarist and about how if my name was David Howell Evans, I wouldn't change it to The Edge because I think David Howell Evans is a perfectly fine name and because I think The Edge is kind of showy. I don't want to write that poem because at the end of the day, or even here at the beginning of the day, I don't really care what David Howell Evans calls himself or what other people call him, and because it's none of my business anyway. The other The Edge poem I don't want to write is about that skyscraper in Hudson Yards, which maybe is actually just called Edge, but fuck you. In doing some quick research for this poem that I don't want to write, I learned that for $185, you can climb up the side of Edge, or the Edge, or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't want to write a poem about how much I don't want to do that, or how much I want to. Instead, I'll just say this. If I had really, really stupid amounts of money, I mean, sure, I'd give a bunch of it away, but also I would buy that building in Hudson Yards and change its name to David Howell Evans, because that's the kind of guy I am. Poem number 550, The Surface. The surface felt like a huge, hopeless bucket of misunderstood appearance. Or perhaps it was more that the surface knew that it was insubstantial and two-dimensional. The surface couldn't say, I may seem to be dull and flat and boring, but once you scratch me or go deeper down, you will see that there is great depth just below me. It would be disingenuous of the surface to say that, because once you scratch the surface or go deeper down, you have left the surface and gone elsewhere. So take my advice and don't fall for that surface bullshit. Although, to be fair, what's underneath the surface isn't always a prize either. The last poem of the day, poem number 551, The Underneath. The underneath was perfectly happy to remain occluded. The underneath had no reason to believe that once it was discovered, it would be accepted, let alone embraced. The underneath had a very realistic sense of what it was. So the underneath understood why it was below and not above. The underneath had secrets and dark and disgusting thoughts. But the underneath didn't believe that having secrets and shameful thoughts made it special. The underneath knew that it was interesting, but it also knew that there was much more to being than merely being interesting. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you.